Hey there, this is Mac Orman with dothemiles.tv, and I am in the pro shop of Guy's Bicycles in Feasterville, Pennsylvania, and alongside me is the owner of Guy's Bikes, Bob Burke. Bob, how are you?
Very good, Matt.
Bob, we're going to talk about CrankSets today, and there's a selection here, and I'd like us to learn a little bit more about what's going on with these three setups we have in front of us here.
Sure. Pretty simple in a way. You can identify it quickly and easily. What's commonly known as a triple is a crank set that uses 3 different sprockets, 1, 2, 3, varying sizes. A double using 2 sizes, and a compact, which is also a double, using a different set of 2 sizes. Triples commonly used for a lot of cyclists who want to have the ability to handle all kinds of terrain, extreme climbs, extreme weighted bike, a heavier bike that needs a lot more gearing selection. This gives you a big gear selection for any kind of terrain. The next would be more commonly used over the last few decades, what they call a double chainring set, still used heavily by a lot of top pro racers. A double has the gear sizes that are larger than what's on a compact. You'll see that effect of that on your gears video that you've put together already. The idea here would be if a 53 tooth creates that bigger diameter and the 39 creates its diameter, why couldn't we then use a compact or a 50-34?
Bob, it seems to me though, just from the onset, we're losing a bit of a gear ratio. We're losing a big gear by dropping down, or are we not?
You're not, because we're expecting the use of this to be used with a different rear gear selection. So the rear gear selection, again, in your gears video you can see this, a compact typically starts with an 11 tooth sprocket in the back and goes up to the range that you need. A 53 for years used a 12 in the back.
Okay.
So we didn't really lose a whole lot of top end. Top pros don't want to lose any top end. They're maximizing, they're going beyond 53. They can put 55s and whatnot,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So commonly used still for the guy who wants the power in that last turn of a sprint and wants all of it to come down to that final push. 53 commonly still used for that. The place where that person might not like it so much is when they're climbing a big hill and they go to the 39 and now they're at their easiest gear on the rear wheel, and it's still not easy enough.
And we're getting into really close to something that's a big no-no, is cross-chaining.
Cross-chaining, exactly. In a sense, cross-chaining means when the chain is on the big sprocket here and on the big sprocket on the back wheel, your chain's taking such an avenue of strain that it's not helping become fluid. It's actually putting unnecessary wear on the chainring, the chain, and the derailleur. So you don't want to have that chain go from the big sprocket to the big sprocket, or from the small sprocket to the small sprocket. Mathematically, you also don't want it to happen, because if you're in this big sprocket, you've committed to power. You said, I want to make this powerful. If that's true, then why are you on that biggest rear gear? There's another gear out there, if you look at your video, that's shared if you were in this 39 tooth.
Sure.
You could have acquired that same gear without all the strain on the chain and the chain rings.
There's something else too, Bob, that we mentioned a moment ago, that the 53 would be paired up to as low as a 12. That 53 divided by a 12, I guess, is actually a smaller gear than if you take that 50 divided by the 11.
Yeah.
So you actually are getting a bigger gear.
Yeah, you're getting extra out of this system.
It's amazing.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
The bigger benefit that happens from this, for a lot of cyclists who are trying to keep the weight down, which today is a big denominator out there, we want to have lighter weight chainring set, lighter weight chain, lighter weight rear cassette, because we can have it smaller, because now we're running everything smaller. The big benefit would be for the climb that you can't get up, that you struggle with in that 39, you finally can drop to this 34 and have a pleasant day getting up a climb.
And a little more cadence, a little more
RPM going through.
Less leg burn.
Correct.
And you last longer in the saddle.
Exactly.
That's the name of the game.
One last thing, if I can throw into, is, and this has personally been noticed by me, and I've heard a lot of customers who now ride compact. In this 53, we're climbing something that we usually climb in our neighborhood or on one of our typical rides, and near the top, it's just not there. You have to say goodbye to the 53. And under all that load, you're about to drop to your 39. What if that wasn't a 53? What if it was a 50? Could I have stayed in there? Yes, I could have. So a lot of the climbs that I used to not get over in the 53, I now stick with it and commit to it in the 50. Granted, I could have went to the 39 and found that same gearing, but because it was a front shift, the less front shifts, the better. I don't want to do that front shift under all that load. I just as soon stay in the 50 and roll over it and be right at the top and roll over the other side of the
Less wear and tear on the bike.
Absolutely.
Less wear and tear on the legs.
Absolutely.
That's terrific. And Bob, I understand that you are a convert to the compact.
I am. I changed over about 4 years ago, Matt, and I will never look back.
Well, I think I'm going to be making a similar conversion myself. I'm getting a little tired of spending too much time in the low RPMs trying to get over some climbs. So this has been a very good talk for me. So I want to thank Bob Burke with Guy's Bicycles in Feasterville, Pennsylvania. We've been talking about crank sets. This is Matt Gorman, dothemiles.tv, and we'll see you next time.